The devil doesn't sit on a throne of fire. He doesn't command legions from the depths. And he was never given the keys to the underworld. What if everything you've ever believed about hell was wrong? That idea? It came much later, shaped by fear, by art, and by misunderstanding. Because in the Bible, hell belongs to someone else. If you seek what was erased by centuries of tradition, subscribe now. We're about to descend into the version of hell they never wanted you to see. Close your eyes and picture hell. Most people see the same thing. Oceans of fire, tortured souls, grotesque demons laughing in endless darkness, and at the center, the devil himself, seated like a dark king on a flaming throne. That image is everywhere, in movies, cartoons, heavy metal albums, and paintings. The devil isn't just evil, he's in control, the master of suffering, the god of the underworld. But here's the problem. That vision is not biblical. It's modern myth, built layer by layer through art, fiction, and centuries of fear-based storytelling. In fact, for the first 1,000 years of Christian history, hell looked very different. And the devil, he wasn't in charge of anything. When we turn to Scripture, we don't find one unified concept of hell. We find three. The first is Sheol, the realm of the dead described in the Hebrew Bible. Sheol is silent, dark, and without judgment. The righteous and the wicked both go there. It is not a place of fire. It is a waiting room, a void. The second is Gehenna, a valley outside Jerusalem where child sacrifices once occurred, and later, a burning landfill. Jesus used Gehenna as a metaphor for destruction, warning that those who reject righteousness may face consequences beyond this life. But he never described Gehenna as Satan's lair. The third is the abyss, a deep spiritual prison mentioned in apocalyptic texts. But again, Satan doesn't rule there. In fact, the abyss is where he is locked up, bound, silenced, judged. Revelation 1 verse 18 records Jesus saying, "I hold the keys of death and Hades." Not the devil, not a demon, Christ. And Revelation 20 says the devil will be cast into the lake of fire, not to rule, but to be tormented forever. Biblically, the devil is not the jailer. He is the inmate. So if hell isn't Satan's domain, who governs the place of judgment? According to Scripture, the answer is as simple as it is terrifying. God does. The Bible is clear. Divine judgment belongs to God alone. He determines what is righteous and what is evil. He is the one who renders the final verdict. No creature, not even the most powerful angel, shares that throne. In Matthew 10 verse 28, Jesus warns, "Do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." That him is not the devil. It's God. And what are the angels? Scripture depicts them not as rebels with pitchforks, but as instruments of divine judgment. In Jude, we read of angels who did not keep their proper domain and are now bound in chains under darkness. Revelation describes angelic beings who pour bowls of wrath, who open the abyss, who execute the justice of heaven. Even the archangel Michael contends with Satan, not out of fear, but out of divine authority. In the biblical narrative, Satan is not feared because he rules hell. He is feared because he deceives, because he manipulates, because he knows his time is short. But the fire that awaits him, that throne of judgment, it isn't his. It never was. So how do we get it so wrong? How do we go from biblical silence to a flaming underworld ruled by horns and hooves? The answer lies in fear and in art. In the Middle Ages, the church faced a challenge: how to teach spiritual consequences to a largely illiterate population. They needed images, stories, drama. So they painted, they sculpted, they performed plays, and hell became a stage. Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy gave it structure: 9 circles, punishments for each sin, a frozen Lucifer at the center. It was vivid, gripping, and fictional. Then came Hieronymus Bosch, Bruegel, Goya, artists who filled canvases with nightmarish visions, devils with grotesque faces, humans in agony, cathedrals of flame and torment. Preachers leaned into the imagery. Sermons thundered with threats of damnation. Hell wasn't just consequence, it was theater. And Satan, he got promoted from deceiver to king. But this vision, as powerful as it was, had no roots in Scripture. It came from brushes, from fear, from control, and over time, it replaced the truth. At first glance, the idea that Satan rules hell might seem harmless, a convenient visual, a common trope. But there's a deeper danger here, one that distorts the nature of good and evil itself. If we believe the devil rules hell, we reduce him to a villain in his kingdom, a lord of punishment, a necessary evil. We give him order, power, stability. But the Bible paints another picture. Satan is not a king. He is a rebel, a liar, a parasite feeding on what he cannot create. And hell? Hell is not his empire. It is his end. Believing he rules, it gives him more than Scripture ever did. It makes him sovereign over sin rather than subject to judgment. But the lake of fire was never built as a throne. It was built as a prison, for him and for those who choose to follow his path. Because hell, in the biblical sense, is not chaotic. It is sacred justice, an answer to evil, a reckoning that comes not from darkness, but from light. So ask yourself, if we've misunderstood this for so long, what else have we misunderstood?